Beneath the warm glow of Christmas lights and the soft crackling of fireplaces, there exists a darker layer to the holiday season that few dare to acknowledge. A layer where innocent-looking ornaments harbor histories soaked in fear, misfortune, and unexplainable tragedy. And as we peel back these festive layers tonight, we begin with a chilling truth. Not every decoration hanging on a Christmas tree was crafted with joy, love, or festive cheer. For some carry legacies so disturbing that they have quietly been removed from circulation, hidden away in attics, sealed inside vaults, or passed unknowingly from family to family like ticking time bombs disguised in glitter and tinsel. And as you watch this episode tonight, remember that the ornament glistening on your own tree may hold a past far older and far darker than you ever imagined. So let us begin our journey with the ominous tale of the glass angel of Granger County, an ornament that first appeared in a small Texas town during the winter of 1974, when a local church held its annual holiday donation fair, setting up tables of baked goods, toys, and handmade decorations. But among them was a single item that stood out, not because of beauty but because of the eerie way it reflected light. A tiny, pale glass angel with hollow eyes and a faint, almost human-like expression of sorrow carved into its face. And although several visitors reported feeling uneasy when standing near it, a woman named Ruth McAllister purchased it for her family Christmas tree, unaware that she had just brought home the most infamous object in her county's history. The first sign of trouble came only hours later when her youngest daughter, Emily, claimed she heard whispering coming from inside the box. And while Ruth initially brushed it off as childish imagination, the whispers continued, growing faintly louder each evening as the ornament hung on the tree. And within a week, the family dog refused to enter the living room at all, standing at the threshold and growling low at the ornament as if warning them of something they could not see. Then, Christmas Eve arrived, and as the family gathered, a sudden cold swept through the living room, extinguishing candles and dimming the tree lights. And for a moment, the entire room felt drained of warmth and life. And just as Ruth reached to adjust the thermostat, Emily vanished. No sound, no disturbance, no broken ornaments, just gone, disappearing within a single breath, forcing police, neighbors, and volunteers to search the entire town through sunrise. Yet no footprints, clues, or signs of abduction were ever found. And when investigators questioned the family, they reported one strange detail. The glass angel, once clear and colorless, now had a faint reddish tint inside its hollow body, as though holding something it did not originally contain. The ornament was seized as evidence, placed inside a sealed storage crate in the county sheriff's office. But over the next few days, deputies reported hearing a child's voice echoing faintly around the storage room, always saying the same thing, "I didn't mean to." And on the seventh night, the crate holding the glass angel shattered from the inside with no signs of forced entry, leaving the ornament missing and the case tragically unsolved. And although many believe the ornament was stolen, those close to the investigation insist they saw no signs of tampering and that the angel simply freed itself before vanishing into the night. Since then, at least 4 separate families across Texas and New Mexico have reported finding an identical ornament in antique stores, thrift bins, or forgotten holiday boxes, each ending in a disappearance. And though authorities refuse to officially link the cases, every family described the same chilling moment, the ornament turning slightly on its own whenever someone entered the room, as if acknowledging their presence. And yes, people still whisper that the angel has never truly stopped moving from home to home, collecting something only it understands. But before you think this is an isolated legend, our next account takes us across the country to the snow-covered forests of Vermont, where another cursed decoration, known as the Morven Hollow Nutcracker, left behind a trail of fear stretching back nearly 2 centuries, beginning with its creation in 1833 by a woodcarver named Elias Torben, a quiet, withdrawn craftsman who was rumored to carve the faces of people he despised into his holiday decorations. And though most dismissed this as harmless spite or local gossip, the truth began to reveal itself when Elias disappeared shortly after completing a new nutcracker tall, oak-carved soldier with an uncomfortably lifelike expression, its painted eyes following anyone who walked past it. And according to town records, the nutcracker ended up in the possession of the Crowley family, who proudly displayed it every Christmas season until the strange events began. Objects moving in the night, heavy footsteps pacing the hallway, and one horrifying winter morning when the father, Liam Crowley, was found unconscious near the fireplace with deep wooden splinters embedded in his arms, as though he had fallen something made of wood. He survived, but insisted in a shaken voice that the nutcracker had attacked him, claiming its jaw opened wider than any wooden mechanism should ever open, revealing something living inside. Though many brushed off his claims as delirium, the nutcracker was relocated to the attic. But the disturbances did not stop, and a few nights later, the family awoke to the sound of something chewing upstairs, the rhythmic clicking echoing through the rafters. And when they finally gathered the courage to investigate, they found the nutcracker halfway down the attic stairs, angled toward the hallway as if caught mid-stride, its painted mouth slightly open and fresh splinters scattered at its feet. And soon after, the Crowleys abandoned the house entirely, leaving all decorations behind. The nutcracker was later recovered by antique collectors, passed between private owners, and each reported identical occurrences. The nutcracker appearing in different rooms without explanation, scratches forming on bedroom doors, and the faint sound of its wooden jaw clicking in the dead of night, always moving closer. Eventually, the last known owner sealed the nutcracker inside a reinforced wooden crate, locked it with iron clasps, and buried it somewhere deep within the Morven Hollow forest, leaving a handwritten note in the local museum archives that simply read, "Do not unearth at the forest will know." And though decades have passed, hikers still report hearing clicking noises among the trees during winter, accompanied by the unsettling feeling of being watched. But perhaps the most disturbing truth we've uncovered is that cursed ornaments like the glass angel and Morven Hollow nutcracker do not merely disappear, they circulate, finding new homes through thrift shops, yard sales, and forgotten boxes sent to donation centers, and many innocent families acquire these items, unknowingly bringing home objects crafted with histories steeped in tragedy, malice, or something far older than the holiday itself. And as we continue this investigation tonight, keep in mind that every decoration, every bauble, figurine, ornament, or festive keepsake holds a story, and some stories were never meant to be unwrapped. And before we dive into part 2, remember to subscribe to True Terror Files Official, so you never miss the next chapter of this chilling series. Because the deeper we dig into these cursed decorations, the more we uncover patterns that point to something ancient and intelligent hiding behind the holiday cheer, watching, waiting, and choosing its next home. As we move deeper into the chilling world of cursed Christmas ornaments, we uncover stories that stretch far beyond isolated tragedies, revealing patterns of malevolent craftsmanship, unexplained disappearances, and holiday objects that appear to possess a consciousness of their own. And our journey now leads us to one of the most unsettling cases ever documented: a seemingly harmless snow globe known as the Winterhouse Sphere, a delicate glass globe containing a miniature Victorian home, tiny figurines of a family standing beside a snow-covered tree, and swirling flakes that shimmered under candlelight, an item so charming and nostalgic that countless families would have proudly displayed it on their mantels. But beneath its festive exterior lurked a history steeped in dread. This snow globe first surfaced publicly in 1958 at an estate sale in Denver, purchased by a young couple, Meredith and Charles Holloway, who brought it home as a sentimental addition to their Christmas decorations, unaware that the object had been quietly passed from owner to owner for nearly a century, each leaving behind a story shadowed by strange occurrences. And the Holloways began experiencing subtle disturbances only days after placing the globe on their living room shelf, lights flickering at odd hours, faint music playing as though drifting through the snow globe itself, and cold drafts moving through rooms with no open windows. But the true horror unfolded one December evening when the couple awoke to discover the miniature family inside the snow globe had shifted subtly. Yet undeniably, the tiny mother figurine now stood closer to the glass, her painted eyes angled upward as if staring directly at whoever looked in. And the next night, the positions changed again, this time with all three figurines clustered together near a window of the miniature house, their painted faces now carrying expressions far more somber than the gentle smiles originally crafted on them, prompting Charles to lock the globe in a cabinet. But even behind closed doors, they swore they heard faint footsteps tapping against the wooden shelf. The situation escalated on Christmas Eve when Meredith entered the living room and froze, horrified, as she found the snow globe sitting in the middle of the floor, surrounded by a small ring of melted frost, its interior now depicting a dark, unfamiliar scene. The tiny figurines lying toppled in the snow, and the miniature house completely dark, windows coated in frost, just like the ring forming in the real world around it. Realizing something was terribly wrong, the Holloways attempted to dispose of the globe by leaving it at a local donation center. But by the following morning, the globe inexplicably returned to their home, placed neatly on their front porch, as though delivered by invisible hands. And the final straw came 2 nights later, when Charles disappeared without a trace, leaving behind only a single footprint near the fireplace, one that was frozen solid, as if stepped from a world much colder than theirs. And when authorities searched the residence, they found the snow globe cracked open on the mantel, with what appeared to be a tiny new figurine inside, one resembling Charles himself, frozen mid. After this incident, the globe was confiscated by investigators, sealed in an evidence box, and officially labeled artifact of interest. But shortly after, the facility storing it suffered a strange electrical failure, followed by reports of unexplained temperature drops in multiple rooms, leading staff to quietly transfer the globe to an undisclosed warehouse, where it remains hidden from the public to this day, though former employees swear they occasionally heard faint tapping from deep within. Storage slow, rhythmic, deliberate, as if something inside was still trying to be noticed. But cursed ornaments do not always appear as vintage heirlooms or antique finds. Sometimes they are modern, mass-produced items that slip through global distribution unnoticed. And our next chilling tale revolves around a contemporary decoration that sent shockwaves through online communities: the Singing Star of Ridgebrook, a battery-powered tree topper sold nationwide during the early 2000s. Designed to emit a soft musical melody when activated, an innocent feature that should have brought warmth to countless family homes. Yet within weeks of release, reports began flooding online of the star activating on its own at 3 or 4 a.m., playing distorted versions of the melody, voices layering beneath the music as though whispering through static, and in some cases, the star allegedly rotated on its own, facing doorways or hallways like a watchful sentinel guarding something unseen. While many chalk this up to malfunctioning wiring, the real horror emerged from the home of the Redfern family, who reported that their star would turn itself on each night, projecting faint beams of light that formed unsettling shadows on the walls, shadows shaped like silhouettes of people who weren't there. And when the family tried removing the batteries altogether, the star continued to glow faintly, emitting a low humming sound that grew louder whenever someone approached, as if responding to proximity. Fed up with the nightly disturbances, the Redferns decided to dispose of the star, smashing it and throwing the pieces into a trash bin. But hours later, the star appeared fully intact atop their tree once again, its glow brighter than ever. And that very night, the youngest child, Lily, woke screaming, claiming she saw shadowy figures standing round the tree, their hollow eyes fixed on her, their forms flickering like candlelight in a draught. And when her parents rushed into the room, they found her pointing at the star, which now glowed an unnaturally deep gold, pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. After weeks of fear and sleepless nights, the family contacted a private paranormal investigator, who claimed after only a few minutes in the house that the star emitted an energy signature he had never encountered, describing it as a beacon, not a decoration, and insisted the family leave their home immediately. The Redferns moved out within days, and the star was confiscated by the investigator. But according to his final written entry, the decoration vanished from his storage unit the night before he intended to destroy it, leaving behind scorch marks on the shelf where it once sat, as if lifted away by something burning hot. And while skeptics dismiss these cases as exaggerated, the unsettling pattern behind cursed Christmas ornaments becomes undeniable as we uncover more reports: garlands that tighten around banisters as if alive, festive bells that ring on their own when the room grows cold, handmade stockings found hanging in abandoned houses, despite nobody living there for decades, and tree toppers that rotate to face people as they walk past, their angles always precise, always deliberate. And the deeper we analyze these accounts, the clearer one truth becomes: these ornaments are rarely accidental creations, but appear to be conduits, vessels, or anchors for something unseen, something that understands the emotional energy the holiday season generates, using cheer, nostalgia, and family traditions as camouflage to slip unnoticed into homes. And while some believe these cursed items were intentionally crafted by individuals dabbling in darker arts, others propose an even more unsettling theory: that some ornaments become cursed naturally over time, absorbing grief, sorrow, or trauma from previous owners until they carry an imprint strong enough to manifest physical disturbances. Whichever explanation is true, what we know for certain is that cursed Christmas decorations continue circulating today, appearing at antique stores, flea markets, estate sales, and even major retailers. Their histories, Unknown, their influence subtle until it's too late. And as we prepare to move into the final chapter of this horrifying journey, remember this is not just a collection of ghost stories, but a documented pattern showing how easily malevolent forces can slip into the most joyful corner of your home, disguised beneath glitter fabric and glass. And before we continue to part 3, make sure you subscribe to True Terror Files Official, because the final chapter will expose the most dangerous truth, yet the origins behind these cursed ornaments, and why so many seem drawn to families who least expect danger, especially during a season meant for warmth, comfort, and celebration. As we enter the final chapter of these chilling cursed Christmas ornament accounts, the lingering question grows heavier. What happens to the cursed objects once their horrifying histories are revealed, and why do some of them seem to resurface long after they are believed to be destroyed? Many historians and paranormal archivists agree on a disturbing pattern. The most dangerous festive relics rarely stay gone for long, and their influence appears to remain active even years after their last confirmed sightings, as if the malevolence attached to them refuses to rest, clinging to the closest source of energy it can find. One of the most unsettling examples is the story of the hollow-eyed choyboy, a porcelain figurine crafted in the 1940s, originally intended to bring a sense of innocence and holiday charm to a family mantelpiece. Instead, it became infamous for an eerie sequence of events that many believe were far from coincidence. Sudden health declines within the house, humming at odd hours, and the sensation of someone standing just behind family members as they decorated the house. After multiple tragedies hit the owners, none of which could be easily explained, the figurine was given to a church for disposal, only to reappear decades later in a thrift store 3 states away with no record. Paranormal archivists have long speculated that cursed holiday artifacts seem to move on their own, choosing their next home with frightening rich in emotional or festive energy. A similar case, known among collectors as the snowstorm globe, involved a handcrafted glass snow globe from Germany containing a tiny, serene village. Each time the globe was shaken, small towns in the surrounding region reported identical, unexplained blackouts, followed by the death of livestock and an overwhelming sense of dread among residents. After the owner's death, the globe was reportedly smashed and discarded, yet stories began circulating online about nearly identical pieces resurfacing at estate sales, with buyers reporting strange cold drafts, flickering lights, and the sensation that the miniature village inside the globe had subtly changed since the day they purchased it. Experts in antique acquisition warn that many cursed holiday objects blend so seamlessly into second-hand markets that even experienced collectors struggle to identify them. And the worst part is that many buyers never suspect the true nature of their purchase until the strange events are not the ornate figurines or complex globes, but the simplest of decorations, like the velvet ribbon. This final account comes from an online forum where a user detailed finding a beautiful deep red velvet ribbon in an antique sewing box. It felt unusually cold to the touch, but was otherwise unremarkable. The user tied it into a bow and hung it on their Christmas tree, admiring its simple elegance. That night, a water pipe burst, flooding their basement. The next day, a small kitchen fire broke out. The accidents were dismissed as bad luck until the user's pet, a healthy cat, suddenly fell gravely ill. Desperate, the user recalled the only new item brought into the home was the ribbon. In a panic, they threw it into their fireplace, watching it burn. The moment the ribbon turned to ash, the cat began to recover, and the string of misfortunes ceased. The user's post ended with a warning. Sometimes the most dangerous things are not the objects that look menacing, but those that appear entirely innocent. These accounts force us to confront a terrifying possibility that the festive season, a time of joy and light, may also be a hunting ground for unseen forces that use our most cherished traditions as a disguise. The glitter, the glow, the nostalgia, it all serves as the perfect camouflage for something ancient and malevolent to enter our lives. As you pack away your decorations this year, or perhaps browse a market for a new one, remember these stories. Look closely at the objects you bring into your home, for behind the cheerful facade of a holiday ornament may lie a history you were never meant to uncover, a story waiting for a new family to become its final, tragic chapter. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the shadows of the holiday season. Subscribe to True Terror Files Official and never look at a Christmas tree the same way again.